Eyewitnesses. Hey, we've all seen the movies, we've all seen television, eyewitnesses there testifying as to what the suspect supposedly did or didn't do based upon what the eyewitness saw. Question, is the eyewitness always accurate? Well, that takes us to this week's case. It involves a criminal case in Connecticut, and there was a man accused of multiple homicides. On his behalf, his attorneys wanted to offer a witness, a psychologist, a man that was trained in perception and human recall. And this man, the expert, was going to testify that eyewitness really, they're not that good. He's going to say that when there's a lot of stress, the eyewitness tends not to perceive very well. Also, the existence of the stress tends to make people forget. And obviously, when a crime is being committed, and especially when a weapon comes out, there's a lot of stress. Well, an offer of proof was made. Offer of proof in a trial is where an attorney offers a piece of evidence or a witness, and the witness describes what he or she will testify to. Judge hears that outside the presence of the jury and makes a decision as to whether the jury should hear that evidence. In this case, the judge heard that and said, no, not going to let this expert testify, because here in Connecticut we have a case, and we have cases that find that if we have an expert testify as to what an eyewitness's capabilities are, that really invades the province of the jury, because the jury alone decides what weight to give evidence. Well, the man was convicted. The case went up on appeal to the Connecticut Supreme Court. Connecticut Supreme Court looked at this and said, you know what? There has been progress scientifically in this whole area of research, and today we know far more about how people perceive, what they see, and what they recall. And yes, issues do exist with regard to eyewitnesses, and yes, people who are trained in this do have knowledge that is outside the average experience of a jury. Most jurors aren't aware of the difficulties people have when they are subjected to stress, at least with regard to being able to perceive and recall. Therefore, the expert who was offered by the defense should have been allowed to testify. However, in this case, the court went on to say, we find there was overwhelming evidence consisting of other things that in fact supported the guilty verdict, and therefore we're going to let the guilty verdict stand. But as to this eyewitness testimony in the future, that can come in. So what is the point of this case? What did we learn in this case? Well, what we learned in this case is this is an evolving area of the law. This is a recent decision made by the Supreme Court in Connecticut. Other states have already confronted this and do allow experts in perception and recall to testify, particularly at criminal trials. And they do that for the very reasons that were discussed in the Connecticut case, that you can have a situation, again, dealing with recall, dealing with perception, that jurors really aren't that familiar with and really don't understand what happens in the human brain, and we can have psychologists who have that expertise testify as to what does take place. Candidly, among people who practice in criminal law, it's generally believed that eyewitnesses are not always accurate, and for the reasons that were pointed out in this case. The fact that people subjected to stress, people get scared when there is something going on that could threaten them, especially when there's a bad guy there wielding a gun around. People get scared. That stress tends to make them not perceive well and not to remember well. So, increasingly what we're finding across the country is that courts are allowing experts in perception and recall to come in and testify, indicating how much weight should you really give to these eyewitnesses. Did they really see what they thought they saw? Did they really remember accurately what they thought they saw? Okay, we bring you this cases, we bring you cases every week so you can see how the law is evolving and so you can make the law work for you. I'm David Allen.